Ladies and gentlemen, today a very, very special video because we have, for the first time on the No Respect podcast, Mr. HockeyJunkie that joins us. Started his journey on YouTube about a year ago in January. This guy is a content machine. Absolutely love his video, and it's an absolute pleasure to have you on. HockeyJunkie, how the hell are you, buddy?
Pretty good, man. Feels good to be here. It's good.
Excellent, excellent. We're doing fine.
Very good, very good.
Yeah, we're ready to have you. And for folks back at home who don't know HockeyJunkie, we're gonna do a deep dive on this guy, just kind of like a prospect. We're gonna do a couple of video series, but we want to start from the beginning with you. Can you tell us a little bit about your channel? I mean, we absolutely love your stuff, but maybe for the folks that don't know you, that are coming to see you for the first time here, tell us a little bit about the why the Habs. Like, what's your whole vibe? Like, what kind of draws you to the content that you make?
Well, the Habs are definitely my favorite team ever in sports. So they're the only ones that I want to cover. So that's it for there. And I mostly started just doing Habs news, and then I got into the reviews and the previews, and I kind of lost that aspect of it. I just continued on with the Habs news and doing prospect updates. And it's been a blast. I've been having a lot of fun. My brain is slightly demented, I guess we could say. And that goes along with it, I guess.
No, but in all seriousness, guys, if you haven't checked it out, like, extremely hilarious, and you guys will probably see it in the interview. But I know that you're extremely creative when it comes to, like, you got junkie cards, you got nicknames for everybody and their mother that's on the Habs. It's fantastic stuff. So we'll give you some time to kind of plug your channel at the end. But first, Justin, we got a little kind of rapid fire question segment here for HockeyJunkie, right?
Yes, we do. Let me pull it up.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay. So let me set the tone here, HockeyJunkie. We're gonna go real quick, the rapid fire. So
Gotcha.
Pretend we're like running for a train and you're out of breath answering these questions. That's the type of vibe that we're going for. We're gonna go real quick on these, and let me start. And are you ready to go? Because it's all about urgency.
I'm ready. I got this.
Okay, excellent. All right, rapid fire question number one: who is the best Hab of all time?
Hold line.
Okay, worst Habs trade.
That was quick.
Worst Habs trade ever.
The Gomez trade.
Okay, one word on Bergevin's tenure.
Band-Aids.
Favorite non-Hab of all time.
Sorry, what was that last one?
Favorite non-Hab of all time.
That's a tough one. Jeez, you got me stumped now. Tom Wilson.
Tom Wilson. Most obscure Habs player that you can remember.
Hold line again.
Least favorite team in the NHL.
Toronto Maple Leafs, hands down. That was easy.
My boy.
There you go. Most memorable Habs moment.
Probably the comeback against the Toronto Maple Leafs in the last year's playoffs.
Okay, there you go. All fantastic answers. And there you have it, a little bit of a profile on HockeyJunkie. But all right, let's head into a couple of other things here on the Habs topics here. So, Justin, maybe you want to go ahead with the next question?
Yeah, let me just pull it up quickly. Yeah, so, I mean, the first thing, obviously, it's a big topic these days with the new era of Jeff Gorton and Kent Hughes. What do you think the biggest difference is that you see watching the Habs now that we've gone from Marc Bergevin, Dominic Ducharme era to the Kent Hughes, Jeff Gorton, and obviously Martin St. Louis era?
To be honest, I haven't really seen enough yet, but so far I'm liking what I'm seeing. I got to give Marc Bergevin a lot of credit. I think people are quick to, toss him to the curb. You know what I'm saying? Like they're pretty quick to toss these guys to the curb. But one thing that I didn't like about Marc Bergevin was the Band-Aid approach, not trying to go after top picks and just really trying to get into the playoffs, whether that's the last position, the last seed, or midway. And sometimes it works, sometimes it didn't, but it seems like Kent Hughes and Jeff Gorton, these guys got a different perspective on the team. They're They're acquiring prospects. They're acquiring picks. The team is getting younger, and there's no emotional attachment between the Canadians roster right now and these two new minds. So we could see a completely revamped team, and I think that's what they needed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Sorry, go ahead, Justin.
Well, I was just gonna ask what you thought of the deadline, like just in general. How would you rate it on a scale of 1 to 10?
I'd rate it 11. I thought it was great. Arturi Lehkonen, yes, he was a fan favorite. But one thing all these guys have in common is, they're restricted free agents or unrestricted free agents, aside from Toffoli. But we're talking about the actual deadline here now, and they moved what they needed to move. He got the right deals, and he brought in good prospects, good picks. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Justin Barron looks
galore.
Yeah. First rounders,
Yeah.
and Justin Barron looks like he could be a world beater potentially.
Wicked deal.
And do you so like in terms of like the way that you analyze the Habs, I have a couple of like follow-up questions between like the Marc Bergevin era and what we're seeing now, but like I guess for you, like what's the most exciting part of like what you're seeing right now with the Montreal Canadiens and since the change? Is there like change in play or is it the direction they're going in? Like how do you see it?
The young kids, man, and they look like they're having fun too, and that's the main objective, right? Like you don't want guys like Suzuki and Caufield in the locker room just not having fun. These guys got to be having fun. They got to want to stay in Montreal. And I think things are looking good.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I guess
sorry, go ahead.
No, I mean, like for me, I completely agree, dude. Like one of the things that like when you look at Marty St. Louis and the way that this Hall of Famer, I said a kid, but this Hall of Fame, yeah, I have to have some respect. But when you look at the way that this team has reacted after this change, and I guess that was my kind of follow-up question is like, where do you think it went wrong? Like, like we went to the Stanley Cup, finals last year. So there was a team there, obviously huge injuries, but like, I guess that's my question to you. Was it Dominique Ducharme that wasn't able to kind of change things for you? Like how do you see it going from the top of the top where you're battling for Lord Stanley itself against the Tampa Bay Lightning and where we ended up in the first half of the season?
I think it was just it sounds bad, but I think it was a lot of luck last year in the playoffs and a lot of leadership. You look at the beginning of last year and things were looking really good. Claude Julien was looking good. The whole team was looking good. And then all of a sudden they just started to plummet. And then we saw the coaching change and things still weren't, wine and roses heading into the playoffs. I mean, there was a time where I was wondering, Jesus, are the Habs going to make the playoffs or not? And then they got into the playoffs, and the leadership really came out. You saw Shea Weber. You saw Corey Perry. I still think that Corey Perry was a massive loss over the offseason.
Yeah,
I think Corey Perry did great things for the Habs and was a huge help to their success. And now we get into this season, and you got Price gone. You got Weber gone. Edmondson's was gone. Drouin, he can eat a bag of Doritos, and he's out for 6 months. And then you got guys like... The whole leadership core was just thrown to the side. You had the kids. And Dominique Ducharme, I like Dominique Ducharme. I still do. Like, I think he's good, but his talking, man, jeez, like, you know what I mean? Yeah. This isn't Winston Churchill. I've been saying that for a long time. Like, this guy can put you to sleep. You know what I mean? That's what he should be doing. He should be on Twitch talking to people, putting them to sleep. That's his career.
Dominique Ducharme ASMR.
Yeah, it's literally what I was about to say. That'd be great. It's $1 billion idea. But yeah, no, I don't know if Justin, you had any questions, but just to add on, like that's the one thing about Dominique Ducharme that I want to kind of give a little bit of benefit of the doubt is that, last year comes in COVID, barely gets to practice. So we're like, okay, it wasn't an easy transition from him to going from Claude Julien's system and trying to adapt that. So I gave him a benefit of the doubt. And then the team does what they do in the playoff run. And a lot of it runs on the fact that you got a $10.5 million carry price performance the whole way way through. So yes, luck. You got. I'll never say that we I would never want to change anything of what happened. Like, I don't know how you felt that playoff run last year. You're from Newfoundland. I know that, like, as Montrealers, it was electric here, even during COVID. How'd you live that kind of moment down in Newfoundland?
Oh man, it was amazing. And the late games in Tampa Bay and the Vegas games, some of those were on late, right? Like those Western games, sometimes they don't come on here in Newfoundland till 11 o'clock, 11:30, and you just got 80 drunk Newfoundlanders going over to each other's houses, and everybody's excited. But there's actually a lot of Habs fans here, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my next question. Is it split between Habs fans and like another team, or is it mainly Habs?
I'd say it's 50-50 between the Habs and the Leafs. But that's just it. That's why it proves, really, like 50% of the population here, they're not working on all cylinders in the old brain. Something's wrong with it.
Yeah.
It's just more
Gotta
proof.
be.
And it must have been great when we beat the Leafs after it was down 3-1. Obviously, that it was 3-1 is the absolute best kind of catchphrase to capture the pain. How did you guys live that? And is there still some kind of back and forth with the Leafs fan that you may know in Newfoundland?
Oh yeah, every day. It's an everyday battle. Especially at work. You go to work and sometimes you're surrounded by Leaf fans, and things can get out of hand pretty quick.
Easy. And as it should, as long as it's in good fun. Like Justin and I went to a Habs Leafs game not too long ago, and we almost had to break up a fight between some Habs fans and some Leafs fans. It was getting intense. That's where I'm like, okay, relax. It's still hockey, but some good fun, some good chirps. That's always great. So, but I guess like right now, when you look at the Habs. Our last question as we kind of conclude the interview, we're going to do a couple of other videos with you right after this, so please check that out, ladies and gentlemen. If you like Habs content, you've come to the right place. Make sure to go to Hockey Junkie's page, subscribe, hit that shit, because this guy uploads content on the daily. So my last question, let's elaborate on this, is that now that the Habs, 18, 37, and 10, absolutely brutal record, but change in management, and the whole talk about rebuild, retool, all of those things. That's where I want to get into it with you. When you look at this Habs team, let's first start with your definition of what a rebuild is.
Okay, well, in my opinion, you got to trade. You got to really evaluate everybody that's over the age of 25, say the 25 to 27 range, and you got to look at the bad contracts first, and you're going to have to try and get rid of them, whether you're buying them out or whether you're selling them, maybe taking on another bad contract in return that's going to expire quicker. But they got to get younger. That's the overall objective, and I think that's what they've been doing so far. They're definitely getting younger.
Yeah. And so, like, I guess what you want to see is that we had like this one video that we did where it's like a spectrum, right, of rebuild to contention. So being on the left side, it's like 0, right? So you're going from absolute teardown. You're selling everyone, like even, Suzuki, Caufield, anybody. You want to start from scratch and just rebuild the team. Obviously, it looks like it's not there when it comes to the new management. And then they're all the way to contention where you're actually trying to acquire some pieces and it's all about performance. So from 0 to 10, where do you kind of fall in this spectrum of rebuild, you would say? Like what you want to see?
Definitely not 0. Like, I don't want Kent Hughes to throw on a Jason Voorhees mask and just start slaughtering off everybody in the locker room. But I'd go with maybe... I'll go with my lucky number, 3. We'll go with 3.
Yeah.
I like that.
I think Mackie and I were around that too. Like I was a 2, Mackie was like a 3.5 or something.
Yeah.
What do you think should happen this offseason then? Like with there's talks about Brendan Gallagher and his contract. Jeff Petrie obviously has requested a trade. What do you think should happen in the offseason?
Jeff Petrie's got to be gone instantly. In my opinion, that's got to be the number one priority. You can't keep a guy in the locker room that doesn't want to be there. That's not good. Even if you take everyday life, if you're at work and you're working with someone that you're feeling comfortable at your job, but he doesn't want to be there, well, that just makes the day miserable. You don't want somebody around like that. Now, I'm not saying Jeff Petrie's like that in the locker room, but You get my point. Everybody knows now the cat's out of the bag. He doesn't want to be there. He's got to be gone. And as for the rest, I'd pick a couple of them and try and move them. The contracts that are more movable, whether there's a team that it pains me to say to move Brendan Gallagher. It does. Yeah. It hurts. It hurts just talking about moving Gallagher hurts, but it's one of those contracts that you got to look at down the road that could come back to bite you in the ass. So,
speaking of Brendan Gallagher, just a last question: who do you think the next captain of the Habs is going to be?
I think it's going to be. That's a tough question, and it's funny because back in September I put it on my channel. I made a community post and I asked everybody who you thought the next Habs captain would be, and there was over 3,000 votes, and
Lyle Oderline,
85% said Brendan Gallagher. But nowadays you would never get that many voting for Gallagher just because of the season he had and what happened. But I'm thinking it's either going to be maybe Nick Suzuki or maybe Joel Edmondson. Maybe it's going to be a toss-up between those two.
I mean, I tend to agree as long as they do move Gallagher, because I think that if you are keeping Gallagher, there's no chance that you can't give him the C unless it's Nick Suzuki. Like, if we go for Joel Edmondson and Brendan Gallagher is still on the team, I think it's GG. Like, the guy is going to be absolutely devastated after everything that he's given to this group. Obviously, he didn't have a great season this year, but not many did. So that's the part that's going to be difficult. If the Habs keep Brendan Gallagher, it can't be Joel Edmondson over Gallagher. I just don't see that. It's weird, no?
No, absolutely. I agree with you. It all depends on whether they decide to part ways with Gallagher or not.
Yeah. I hope they keep him. I mean, he's been too like entrenched in my Habs fandom over the years. He's just been such a workhorse, and I mean, he's obviously had a tough season, but I think he still has potential to get back to where he was. Like, he's not he couldn't have fallen off a cliff that much.
That's the thing too, is like when we look at Brendan Gallagher, we're talking about a guy that's like a perfect example of work ethic. So like, as much as it's a shit contract, don't get me wrong, like at least that's what it's looking like right now. It's just that we knew that the type of player that Brendan Gallagher is in terms of like mileage on the game and like the injuries, like he basically doesn't have a left hand and he's still playing hockey. You know what I mean? Like, he's gotten Shea Weber slap shots galore into his crotch area, and he's still kicking. But at the end of the day, he's going to bring some kind of cultural value to this group. So we'll see how it plays out. I just think that, Brendan Gallagher has those intangibles, a character guy, if I have to quote Bergevin, that got emotional when he signed him. So we'll see what happens,
Yes, we will.
Either way, Junkie, I don't know if we lost you in terms of audio. Are you still there?
Sorry, I'm here.
Okay, all good. Perfect. Listen, HockeyJunkie, the last thing that we ask you to do, because we want everybody that doesn't know you to go to your channel. You want to do any plugs that you want, go ahead for your channel and all the content, and maybe a little outro for yourself.
No, if anybody, if you want to keep up on Habs news, if you want to have some fun, head on over there and take a look. But don't forget these guys, though. If you're new here too, and if you're a grasshopper that just so happened to stumble upon the No Respect podcast, then have some respect and
always have some respect.
That subscribe button, maybe drop the like button. Rough them up a little bit.
I love it. HockeyJunkie, it's been an absolute pleasure. We're going to do a couple of other videos, so if you guys take a look at, I don't know if we're going to pop them up here, but an absolute pleasure to be able to do this with you, our first collaboration this year, because we're absolutely trash at scheduling on our side, but absolute pleasure to have you. Everybody, go take a look at HockeyJunkie. You joined us, the No Respect podcast. We're missing Alex today, who would have been a pleasure to have on as well to talk to you, but HockeyJunkie, I hope you enjoyed your time with us.
It was an honor, man. Absolutely.
God bless.
Thank you.
Much respect. To everybody back at home, go Habs go, and we'll see you in the next video, eh? Cheers.